Hi Aries. This is Gina. Thank you for joining me today. I just finished recording your March horoscope. Hopefully that will come out later today. And I just wanted to check in with you. I feel like now is such an exciting time astrologically, and I do horoscopes every month for sun and rising signs. If you know your rising sign, use your rising sign. If you know your sun sign, use your sun sign. Um, and I also do these daily live astrology chats. And so I think with so much going on, I just thought today maybe I would sort of combine the two. So please check out my channel for February horoscopes that are already up, and March horoscopes are coming very soon. But I kind of just wanted to have a chat. You know, the purpose of my daily check-ins, this podcast that I do, this daily astrology chat live, is to be able to build a bit of community together, have some back and forth, and hear from you all. And like I said, there's so much going on astrologically. It just felt like a good time to sort of check in a more uh, casual capacity. But definitely please check out those horoscopes as well. There's a ton of content in there. You know, let's take it one thing at a time though, and let's talk about a few different things in this chart. Good morning, Miss Tell. How are you today? Nice to see you. The thing that jumps out at me at first for you, Aries, is this Mars retrograde. And this is something, of course, that we're all experiencing. But for Aries, it's here in the fourth house. And so all of this sort of emotional energy and emotional processing that we're doing right now, perhaps even some emotional reactivity or outbursts here and there, they've been sort of related to things around your home or your family of origin. I feel like there's so much healing happening for you right now in those areas. And just healing happening for you in general, Aries. And that has a lot to do with everything that's happening up here in Pisces. Oh my goodness, this Pisces sector of the chart is just brimming with planets, isn't it? Again, this is true for all of us, but for Aries rising, it's here in the 12th house. And this is going to continue to be the case for the next month or so. You know what? I'm gesticulating with my pen, and I do think it's better sometimes to add the little visuals as we're talking about it. This is another sector of the chart that I think is just so interesting right now and really deserves our attention, of course, and that's this Pisces. Let me just not bring Venus into that mix. This Pisces sector of the chart. So this 12th house Aries is all about your inner life, your sort of hidden world, the things that you do alone, the time you spend alone. It's a very sort of private and personal house, and it relates to healing as well. So with so much energy here right now, and also this sort of activation of that Mars in your fourth house, I just can really see Aries going through some themes related to letting go of old programs. You know, perhaps things that you picked up from family members, from schools that you attended, from the society that you grew up in and that you believe to be true. But now, as there's all this energy in Pisces, it's like you're processing that now as your new best self, and you're letting go of what doesn't work. You may be able to see some things that you never saw before. It was a program that was operating sort of subconsciously, you know? And I mean, we just have so much about to happen in this house and sign. We're going to have eclipses happening along this axis for the next 18 months. So this is a story that's really unfolding, related to sort of healing work and the way that that changes the way you show up in your world day to day. Your daily routines are shifting as well with the North Node here. So, I'm sorry, with the South Node here in Virgo, of course, releasing perfectionism, releasing the need to overplan and overdo when it comes to your daily routine, when it comes to the way you show up at work, Aries. You're sort of letting a lot of that go in the next year and a half or so. I want to say something else about this Mars retrograde. So let me just lose this and instead add something else. So we have this Mars retrograde happening right now, and Mars actually is going to station direct in a couple of days. So it's especially, we're really feeling it right now because that Mars is just basically standing still at that 17 degrees and has been getting ready to move forward. But what's interesting, Aries, is that we have this Mars retrograde in the fourth, helping you to work with redoing, rethinking home and family of origin stories. And I was connecting that with healing work up here in Pisces. But I also just want to add that in March, so this retrograde ends in a couple days, but in March, Venus goes retrograde on March 1st, and then on March 15th, Mercury will go retrograde. And they're both going to be in your first house, Aries, at that time. And they'll retrograde back into Pisces before going direct and coming back to the first house. So this axis for you is getting a lot of retrograde energy, just getting a lot of movement in general. You know, the North Node here, this is the North Node. That looks like headphones. It just crossed over into the 12th house from the first house, and Neptune's going to be going this way at the end of March. So it's just this axis is so active. So for you, Aries, that's a long, very long way of saying, let's think about what this first 12th house axis is all about, because you have some stories in there happening for the next couple of months, really, now and continues on. Like we said, the 12th house is about healing. It's about hidden things. It's about spirituality. And the first house, especially with the nature of these retrogrades, it's about your identity and your self-expression, and your appearance can even show up here too. And I think that with it being Aries and Pisces ruled houses, it's super interesting. It's like, I think that you're really changing the way that you show up in the world, the way that you express yourself, the way that you exert your energy, who you are, you know, the expression of who you are is coming into a new higher level. And partially that's happening because of this healing work that you're doing when you're alone. And it may relate to some of the themes connected to Mars retrograde, where you're working with letting go of old stories, old patterns from even when you were very young, from your family of origin. There could also be stuff coming up with your physical home. And then I think as this Mars retrograde moves into Leo soon as well, it'll take a while, but in the spring, your creativity kind of shoots up to another level. You're able to move forward on creative projects. And I think you're just having more fun. You know, Mars finally moving direct in Leo after going through this whole long retrograde process. I think that the spring could be a time where you're just really having a good time, Aries. You're tapping into what's fun for you, what leisure and pleasure and enjoyment are for you. And those things are maybe different than they used to be. And it's because of this healing work, and it's because of this showing up differently, exerting yourself differently, being that leader, being that unique person that you are in the world, expressing it boldly, that you then are able to tap into, you know, everything that this Mars retrograde brings to the surface. Also releasing some of the perfectionism in terms of daily routines. So, like I said, I was just kind of thinking about you this morning because I recorded your March horoscope, and that will be out later. But there's so much happening in March. You know, we have these 2 retrogrades starting up. We have 2 eclipses, both in Aries. So be sure to check out your horoscope for March, you know, on my channel or on someone else's, because it's just super interesting astrology. You know, the purpose of this channel is, or the purpose of these podcasts usually are these daily check-ins, but I'm just taking a one spin through the zodiac here. And I'm still working on live streaming uh, with screen sharing. When I do my horoscopes, those are different. My horoscopes are recorded and basically scripted. I write it all out in advance. But these live streams, I'm using my phone, I'm using my iPad. It's super awkward, but I'm still learning how to do the screen share from my iPad for live streaming. So for now, this is what we're working with, and I appreciate you all bearing with me. So I'm looking at the chat here, and I would love to hear before I go if anyone has any questions. If you have any questions about the current astrology, if you're not in Aries, that's fine too. And if you're in Aries, I would love to hear how any of this is going for you. I'm seeing someone speak about how a little outbursts occasionally with this Mars retrograde. Yeah, that Mars retrograde in Cancer is really quite interesting, isn't it? It's really pulling our emotional selves to the surface, and working with that energy can be really difficult. So it's not just necessarily us who's having the outburst, it's people around us. So I'm really trying to take a bit more downtime right now between all of these Pisces energies and a Mars retrograde stationing direct. I don't know, it's just helpful to have a little extra quiet for me right now, rather than, you know, socializing during that time, just kind of going into a separate room and closing the door a little bit, to just have a little personal time more than usual is helpful for me right now. But also then when I am out with other people, kind of trying to shine a light even brighter than usual, and understanding that people are sort of in a contemplative space and in an emotional space. So not really expecting much from them, but expecting instead to sort of listen and to give, and to enjoy, but to sort of do the healing and the care work on my own, and then sort of show up for others when I'm out and about in the world, with as much energy as as possible and compassion as possible, but also at the same time, you know, preserving and conserving my own energy to not overdo it. So that's sort of what I've been doing a little bit lately, what I've been noticing. But yeah, outbursts, totally normal. Yes, the idea of headphones, I like that. And then uh, what did you say? The bull's nose. Yeah, headphones and horseshoe is usually what I say. But I mean, a horseshoe can be hung either way. But for some reason, that looks like a horseshoe to me. That looks like a headphone. That's how I remember them. And they are the only planets that move the other way. Only points in the sky that move the other way through the chart. Always worth keeping in mind with those nodes, those eclipse points. Very, very interesting to tune into with astrology. You are very welcome. Thank you in terms of thanking me for being here every day, I thank you for being here. And I don't see any other questions. And I appreciate you. And please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And check out horoscopes for February and March soon on my channel. Have a great day, Aries. I'll be back again tomorrow.